What is Anglicanism? Anglicanism is a branch of Christianity formed in the 16th century during the English Reformation. In 1534, King Henry VIII separated the Church of England from the authority of the papacy in Rome. Now, it's commonly viewed that he did this in order to divorce his wife, Catherine of Aragon, so he was free to marry Anne Boleyn. In reality, Henry was attempting to have his marriage to Catherine annulled. However, due to a number of issues, many of which were political, the Pope denied this request. Henry, wishing no longer to have any outside authority over him in these matters, took action. Through a number of laws, he established the royal supremacy, where the monarch was both head of church and state. After Henry's death, the reforms in the church continued thanks to persons such as Thomas Cranmer and Matthew Parker, who did so under his children Edward VI and Elizabeth I. Henry's eldest daughter, Mary, briefly returned England to papal authority for 6 years after the death of her brother Edward. However, after Mary's death, Elizabeth took the throne, and England was once again brought out of papal authority. Now, one question that gets asked of a lot of Anglicans is, are you Catholic or are you Protestant? And the correct answer is both. Why is that? Well, first of all, it should be noted that the terms Catholic and Protestant aren't mutually exclusive to one another. So why are we Protestants? Well, as Anglicans, we acknowledge that we are a product of the Reformation in England. We are Christians that reject the authority of the papacy like other Protestants. We hold that the sacraments of baptism and the Eucharist are sacraments of the gospel. We allow married persons to become ministers, and we allow ministers to marry and occasionally remarry. We allow for a large amount of involvement of the laity in the running of the church. We allow for more flexibility in some beliefs and practices than do Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodox Christians. And as well, we hold Scripture as holding all things necessary for salvation, like most Protestants. And then, of course, there is the question of why are we Catholics? Well, we are Catholics as we hold that we are part of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. We continue to use the offices of deacon, priest, and bishop for our ministers as was present in the ancient church. We hold to the ancient creeds of the church, specifically the Apostles' Creed, Nicene Creed, and Athanasian Creed. We include marriage, ordination, confirmation, last rites, and confession among the sacraments. We, like Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodox Christians, hold that our ministers are an apostolic succession. Thus, Anglicans hold a position referred to as the via media, or the middle ground between Protestantism and Catholicism. Regardless of whether we are Catholics or Protestants, we still hold to rules of orders of faith. How we worship is dictated by a set liturgical text. In most nations, we call this the Book of Common Prayer. The first, created in 1549 by Archbishop Thomas Cranmer of Canterbury, outlines our worship structure and how the sacraments are to be carried out. Anglicanism is also responsible for the most used English translation of the Bible. This translation, completed in 1611 and originally called the Authorized Version, it's commonly known today as the King James Bible, and it's still in use throughout the world today. As well, most English language hymns used throughout the world that were created before the 20th century will trace back to Anglicanism, specifically the Church of England. Anglicanism is the third largest denomination of Christianity, directly after Roman Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy. It should be noted that within Anglicanism, you can find a whole spectrum of beliefs and practices. You have Anglicans calling their priest father. You have Anglicans who call their priest by their first name. You can find Anglicans who will kneel while receiving communion. You'll have Anglicans who prefer to stand while receiving communion. There are Anglicans who use rosaries, Anglicans who use guitars and drums for music during their services, Anglicans who make the sign of the cross a lot, Anglicans who don't like making it at all, Anglicans who believe in ordination of women, Anglicans who don't, Anglicans who believe in transubstantiation, Anglicans who don't believe in real presence at all. There are gay Anglicans, straight Anglicans, English-speaking Anglicans, French-speaking, Arab-speaking, Spanish-speaking, Anglicans who like the Pope, Anglicans who think the Pope is the Antichrist, Anglicans who have tea and cake after church, Anglicans who rarely have communion, Anglicans who have it every Sunday and sometimes throughout the week as well. So there are a wide variety of Anglicans out there. There are 38 autonomous regional and national churches of the Anglican Communion. The Archbishop of Canterbury, the primate of the Church of England, serves as the primus inter pares, or first among equals, among the primates and bishops of the Anglican Communion, but he has no formal authority over the other churches. The bishops of the Anglican Communion meet every 10 years to attend the Lambeth Conferences. However, this is not a central governing body. It is my hope to use this channel as an information source on Anglicanism rather than on apologetics. I'll try to mix in a bit of humor as well to make matters a little less dry. Over the next few weeks and months, I'm going to start bringing you a series on the history of Anglicanism. I also hope to explain some of the terminology and doctrines you might be unfamiliar with. If you have any questions about Anglicanism, feel free to send me a message and I can elaborate or answer your question with a video. So please rate, please comment respectfully, and please subscribe. And God bless you all.